Hello, I'm John, and this is my video journal response for Module 10. The first question is, do you feel your personality has changed over the years? If so, how? If not, what has stayed consistent? And for me, I think my personality has changed in a lot of ways, but there are also like some aspects that have remained the same. I think definitely like when I was really young, I was like really outgoing, very social, a lot of energy, and that's not really been the case for a while. So I think that aspect or those aspects have changed. And then there are also some things that have stayed consistent, like that I like to just like sit back and observe things, I guess. That was something that like my parents and like family members and stuff always said as a kid. I would sit back and just like watch stuff, I guess. That's sort of how I go right now. I guess I'm like slow to get into things. I like to like see what's going on first before I get thrown in there, I guess. I don't know. And then can you identify any life events, any key life events, relationships, or challenges that influence changes in how you think, feel, or behave? That's the second question. And I definitely can, like, I think definitely some like relationships, like romantic relationships, definitely influence the way I think and stuff. I mean, just like learning stuff through experience, I think it definitely changes your outlook on certain things. Um, and yeah, certain challenges as well. I mean, some challenges that like I've overcome, then it's like, oh, like maybe I'm not in this like box that I thought I was in. Maybe I can go a little bit outside of that. Maybe the box is a little bigger. I don't know. And then maybe some challenges that I didn't really like measure up to. Maybe that'll like change my perceived ability to do things, and maybe that will change certain aspects of my personality, like maybe how outgoing I am or confident. So yeah, those sorts of things. I can definitely identify some key events for sure. And the next question, are there traits that feel core to who you are, things that have always been part of your identity? And I feel like there are definitely some things that are core to my identity, things that have been present and haven't really changed. Um, if I had to put those into words, it's a little bit difficult. I mean, I guess I have always, there have been times where I've been like very social, especially as a really young kid, but I've always been a little bit like reserved and a little bit like very like observant. I like to observe things, I suppose. I like to like take my time. I've also never been very like reactionary. Even my parents have said like as a kid that I don't really like react to things. I'm usually just pretty like calm and chill. Like as a baby, I didn't cry apparently, which is kind of crazy. But so yeah, those are some things that have been consistent. Other than that, I mean, I've always enjoyed like athletic stuff. So if you can factor that into personality, I suppose that can be a core trait. I've always loved to like learn new things. Sometimes a little bit too much. um, but yeah, I've always like learning. I wonder if there's anything else. I mean, yeah, I think those are some solid ones for sure. Yeah, I think I've always been pretty like empathetic as well, and like I guess like sensitive to how I'm like acting and how that can like affect other people. I think that's been pretty consistent too. And then the next question is, where do you think your personality traits come from? Family, culture, experience, something else? And So I think some of those like core traits, I feel like I just have been born with to a certain extent. Like that's just sort of my nature, I guess. And some of those haven't really been altered too much by like experiences and stuff. But then I feel like other ones have definitely, sorry about the noise, but there are other personality traits that definitely came from experience. I feel like that's where most of them came from. I feel like it's either some of them are just like in my nature or like instilled in me. Well, no, because I guess that would be experience too. So I guess some of the core ones are just like from nature, I think, and then some of them have been from nurture and just like experiences. I feel like that's what really shows the most is there are, again, sorry for the noise, are the ones that have come from experience. Yeah. Then the next question, how do you think aging might continue to shape your personality in the future? I mean, I think, sorry, I think as I like age and as I live more and experience more things, I think I will definitely begin to make more shifts, learn more things. So I'm sure I will adjust my personality as a way to either like cope with things that maybe like hurt me, or to grow from experiences that I can learn from, and maybe like I would become more outgoing as I like learn new things and develop confidence maybe, and perhaps I'll return and embody more of my like core personality traits as I like develop and like let go of maybe some of the learned personality traits that aren't as like healthy or perhaps true to myself, however you want to argue that. And then the final question is, what do you think about the idea that identity is an ongoing process, not a finished product? And I feel like I agree with that mostly. I do agree with that. I think it is an ongoing process because I think you're constantly developing throughout your life, and I don't think you can even change that at all, even if you wanted to try to. But then I do feel like at the same time there are some like essential parts of you that are just you and that is like in your nature. But I do believe even going off of those is an ongoing process because I feel like you develop some like coping mechanisms that aren't maybe like true to those natural inclinations or traits. And I feel like it can be like an ongoing process to sort of move past those and like return to yourself, I guess. I don't know, I'm sounding very like out there a little bit, but yeah, that's what I think. That's all I have to say. So thank you for your time.